Hey everyone, and welcome to the midweek market wrap up with myself, Michael Nauss from StatsEdgeTrading.com. Again, if you are new here, at the middle of the week and the end of the week, we take a zoom out, we look at some longer term pictures of some charts, see what's going on in the market to get ready to trade for the end of the week, or at the end of the week when we kind of wrap everything up. We're preparing to go into next week. So we're going to go through Forex, crypto. We're going to go through the underlying stock market. I'm going to show some stuff, I think one name that I'm interested in, and just talk about stocks. So if you want to make sure you get this emailed to you along with the smaller videos I do throughout the week, go to StatsEdgeTrading.com and sign up for the email list there. And without further ado, let's get into it. As always, starting with Bitcoin. That did a little bit of a fake out here that was interesting, where we had this run up has been happening for a long time. I've been saying I am still participating in this run up. I obviously wish I bought more as we broke this area, but things are going fantastically. Had a sell off yesterday and just retrace that and butting right back at these highs today. So may look to get involved a little bit more if things kind of pop out of this range. As we were talking about before with Ethereum, we have a little bit of underperformance. We still yet to break out of this range on Ethereum. So for me, as a relative strength guy in the crypto space, I'm sticking with those strong names. Now, into DXY, the Dixie, which is the dollar index here, completely fell out of bed on this CPI print. Just crashed at the same time the market pulled up, showing that inverse relationship is still there. So we need to watch the dollar if we want to have some idea when it comes to stocks. Make sure we're watching those two things relatively closely. Dollar selling off, stocks rallying, and vice versa. Now, we are coming into this high right here. If I go and just draw this in, this high could be a little bit of problems, but really what I'm looking for when it comes to anything, it's going to be a shorter video because everything's just kind of pushing in one direction regardless what you're looking at. With when it comes to any of the dollar denoted currencies, like we can go Euro USD here, is basically any kind of pullback into this range right here I think is buyable. So this is what I'm watching. Same with if you look at anything uh, with US dollar as the denominator, right? We still have this, for example, is actually one thing I'm watching for a short on the dollar yen, because again, dollar fell out. Yen is just continuing to be weak. If the Bank of Japan ever steps in, I think we could see ourselves at this like 148 really, really quickly because the dollar is so weak. So if the yen picks up any strength at all. Now, gold is very interesting because gold didn't rally when the dollar was weak. So, showing some relative weakness here in the gold area. I expected some more push on gold. We were looking at this pullback into this area that I talked about. I took a little bit of a trade as it broke out through here. Not really liking this topping tail. So, unless we can get some more strength going in the next few days, I may have to bail on that gold position. So, now we're going to go into individual equities and talk about why there's really not much for me to do here. And this is totally okay. And it's very indicative as an older trader. As a newer trader, I'd be very worried and I'd say, okay, where can I trade? Where can I trade? What can I buy? As an older trader, I'm sitting very long, and I've been long from this low right here. We talked about why. If you go back on the channel, there's an anchored view app there. And now I just have a portfolio of stocks, and I'm just sitting and waiting for my portfolio of stocks to do something. They're continuing to participate in this trend, and as long as they are, I want to stick with them. But Spider's just absolute ripper, and then big jump on that CPI print. Little bit of a rest day. I wouldn't be surprised to see a few days of rest here. There's no reason to be bearish this market. I put out a tweet on the weekend that triggered some of the doomers, but we had, as I talked about in the weekend video, a new all-time weekly closing high for XLK, and now we've just broken to new all-time highs. You got to look at it for whatever doomer reason you have about economy, blah, 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 blah. One saying that I love is if you can't survive the bull market, you've got no chance in surviving the bear market. And technology breaking out to new all-time highs. If you haven't been participating in this bull market that's nearly a year old, kind of what are you waiting for, right? Are you going to participate at the very end? But new all-time highs for technologies, certainly not a bad thing. Now, I've heard a lot of people say, oh, well, it's only the big names that are holding us up or whatever. But look at this on the Russell 2000. Again, there's 2,000 names in the index. We had a 5% gain yesterday on the Russell 2000. Bit of a topping tail today, a little bit worrisome here. But it's just natural after a massive rally up here to see the market pause and pull back and kind of consolidate for a little bit. So it does not bother me that the S&P 500 is leading the charge. You want the biggest and best companies to be doing the best. That makes perfect sense to me. And we have now the Russell 2000 finally catching up with MDY, which is our mid-cap index, kind of in the middle. Now, one sector that is lagging that I'm interested in is USO. So in bear markets, I'm looking for relative strength really, really closely, because if names are relatively strong, then as the market's kind of pushing that name down, it's going to hold up the best. Sometimes in these type of markets, you actually have catch-up plays that you can do. So oil is holding the $70 area. If we can get a turn from oil, I'm interested in this name as well. Now, we're going to look at Spotify. I talked about it yesterday, but I'll go a little bit more in detail here. But again, like I talked about in the beginning, I don't want to be chasing stocks up here. Again, I already have a pretty full portfolio of long names. I'm happy about it, and I'm going to continue to ride the trend. Spotify is kind of interesting to me because it's meandering its way up to this 180 area where we had this last high right here. So above that, things could get going, just playing this symmetrical triangle right here, or this ascending triangle, see if we get a breakout from there. But I talk about this a lot, but the channel's always growing, so I'm going to go over it, where what I do is when the market is pulling back, I'm building lists of names that are holding up strong, names that are not pulling back. I'm just looking for sectors, looking for relative strength. When the market starts to push higher, I buy a bunch of those names. As the market trends higher, nothing for me to do. And that's what you want as a swing trader. There's nothing for me to do. The names that I have are working. They continue to work. I monitor them daily, and I take the time that I would be trading or would be looking for other things. I build new strategies, and I come up and I back test things and make videos for you guys and all kinds of stuff. Trade different markets. Like, I've been more focused on the FX side than I have on the stock side because I have that full portfolio. So if you miss this one, I implore you not to chase. Wait for some sort of setup to occur. The market's just been screaming higher. Yes, it sucks as the market moves higher. If you were one of those people who didn't get involved, I'm just saying, don't FOMO in, have a plan. Also, if you're one of those people who's always waiting for the end of the world, if the world comes to an end, your stock portfolio is going to be the least of your concerns. So if we are in uptrends and the market's moving higher, just turn off all the doom and gloom Twitter spaces and this and that and the other thing. Focus on things that make sense to buy. In the meantime, I'm just going to be hanging out, making videos for you guys. Make sure you sign up for the email list at StatsEdgeTrading.com so you can get those. And until then, talk to you guys on the weekend and trade safe.